And as almost promised, certainly hoped for, I'm back for another video. What we have in focus right now is a egg sac from a toad. I have no idea exactly what type of toad, but from a toad. And they don't lay these sacs in the water. They put them on branches that they hope overhang water. And when they're ready, they drop in, dissolve. The tadpoles, I think that's what they're called, go out and enter the world. It's kind of a neat shot. You don't see that too often on a YouTube video. Anyway, that's what we're looking at. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. The chainsaw in our neighbor's yard has just quit, so hopefully it'll be nice and quiet for a while. And I want to tell you a story from the Thomas Crosby 5, just a short one. I was up in the wheelhouse and, two beautiful red dragonflies, red-tailed ones, are zooming around trying to declare who will have the territory and be able to mate with the ladies. They're fun to watch. Now, back to the story. There was an engineer, not the regular one, but a replacement for a trip or two, who came out of the engine room and up to the wheelhouse, stood there looking very impressive. I was on wheel watch, the skipper was down below, and the engineer grabbed the binoculars and stood there very nautically looking at a ship that was pulling ahead of us. We didn't travel all that fast, and this one was a few knots faster than we were. And he watched for about 5 minutes, didn't say a word. And finally, he put the binoculars back where they were supposed to be, and he turned and looked at me and very, very, very authoritatively said, "Well, this boat is going to go in that direction. I know that because I watched his wake." And I didn't say anything, and eventually he went back to the engine room. But the thing of it is, folks, the only thing you can tell from a boat's wake is where it's been. That wake tells you nothing about where it's going in the next minute, because it tells you nothing about where that whoever is in the wheelhouse is about to turn the wheel to. Where you've been in this case, or at least the course you have followed, has very little to do with the course you're going to take. That's just a fact of life. Another story, and they all fit together at the end, trust me. I was watching this morning my favorite aircraft, historic aircraft, that is, a YouTube channel called Rex's Hangar, REX''SHANGER, Rex's Hangar. And it was about Japanese flying boats after World War I, pre-World War II. And he said, my apologies, folks, but this is not a highly researched show. I've only found 2 books that have anything at all to say about this particular type of aircraft. And one of them's in Japanese, so my apologies if I get the translation wrong and it doesn't work right. And that's why I watch this fellow's videos. He researches dramatically, deeply, whatever he's going to put out. And while I have caught other YouTubers in obvious glaring errors, even to the point of talking about a World War II fighter and showing little video clips of a post-World War II jet fighter that is supposed to be the World War II prop fighter. Silly things like that. But this fellow knows what he's doing. He knows his research. He does great work. And, well, I'm 71 years old. I've been a commercial pilot. I started building model airplanes and hanging them from my ceiling of my bedroom as soon as I got a bedroom, pretty much. My brother was 3 years older than me and built model planes and became a senior captain for a major airline, international airline. And neither one of us has ever found any fault with Rex's videos because Rex does the research. Which is in deference to the engineer who just came up and showed how much he didn't know but tried to bluff his way and show us. But it didn't work. Which brings me to today. A prime example of why I have decided to go to gathering open source information on the web. Even to the extent that my good wife is taking down my old cell phone. How old is it? It's old enough, folks. All it is a phone and a stopwatch and a timer. It's got no camera. All you can do with this thing is add numbers and make phone calls, basically. That's an old cell phone. You can't turn it sideways to change the orientation of the screen or any other smartphone stuff. It doesn't even have a touch screen, but it works. I'm going to put in a new SIM card, my wife is, and I'm going to be able to give a phone number to places that want phone numbers before you can get on the web with them. But I got to go with the old cell phone for this. And I need to do this because to get the information I want, I can't get it from the regular news sources. One example is the speaker's visit to Taiwan. DW, the German national web service, has got stories on it. China's got web stories on it. The US does, Great Britain, Canada. You name it, there's a web story out there from one news broadcaster or another, and they all agree on the basic facts. And the basic fact is that Speaker Pelosi went to Taiwan and came back again. Now, the reasons given, the outcome of it, the tension increase, every country's got their own little twist on just why and how and what's going to happen next. And if you're willing to simply take the surface shot like I am with this video, I'm not looking to find a way to get in to see the tilapia under the surface here. I got an egg pouch, I don't know, 6 inches from the water surface and a bit of reflection below that, and I'm happy with that shot. But I want to know more about what's going on in the world than a surface shot. And so, I got hold of the moderator to the OWL Project Discord, and I asked, is there some way I can get on without a web connection? And he said, no, or without a cell phone, I said, or a land phone. He said, no, you can't do it, or she did, I'm not quite sure which it was. And I said, okay, I haven't used either in years, but it'll take me a few days to get one going. He said, I understand that completely. We await your return. So, wife goes down today and I get my cell phone set up. Not a bad deal. Matter of fact, that's a pretty good deal. And I want to get on this because I can go down to the next level already. If you want to find, here's a little hint, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know where the real battles are being fought in the Ukraine, if you don't want to listen to Ukrainian propaganda or American propaganda or Russian propaganda, then what you do is go to the NASA website, NASA. That's right, the people from outer space. And you will find there that they have a satellite that shows fires on the Earth's surface. And I mean, anything from a small house up to 100,000 acre forest fire is going to show up on this satellite. And all you have to do is zoom in on the Ukraine, and they will show you, daytime or nighttime, doesn't matter, a line of fires in the Ukraine. And if you watch that line of fires over 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, you will be able to notice whether it goes out entirely, if it changes direction in one direction or another, if the fires remain the same but stationary. And what you're looking at is the line of fire that the Russians and the Ukrainians are having against each other. It may not be exactly where the line is between the two armies, but it's showing you where their artillery and their missile strikes are hitting, and their ground troops if they're in a city torching it. This you can find out just by going to NASA. If you want to take a look at aircraft that are flying around the Ukraine, pretty much all of the international players have fighters there and reconnaissance aircraft, and most of them, many of them, some of them, who knows the exact number, but they carry a thing called a transponder, so that the air traffic controllers can see where they are, where they have been, where they're going, and what they're doing, and they can stop planes from crashing into each other in midair. But you can get that information at the next level down. You can do the same thing with the marine environment. Ships also use transponders. Not the Russian ships right now, because if they put out a position, by God, the Ukrainians just lock onto it and they drop a missile on them or a drone, and they can take out their ships fairly easily. They do a good job of it. But that information is just one layer down. These groups that I want to get involved with are perfectly legal. There's not hacking. There's none of this illegal stuff going on that I'm aware of. And if there is, I certainly won't be a part of it, because I can't even get my cell phone to work most days. I'm not a high-tech type person. And you have my promise, I won't go illegal. I have no need to. There's lots of information out there for me. And that's the information I want. I want to find out from the satellites. Since war began, the holding of the high ground has been crucial to success. If you got the high ground, you can see what your opponent is doing, your enemy, and you can counter it quickly and effectively and efficiently, hopefully, in which case you're going to win. If you can't see what your enemy is going to do, bye-bye, wife, have a good one. You got my cell phone. Okay, have fun. There's my lady going down. She said bye-bye. If you didn't hear her, you certainly heard me say goodbye to her. But you need the high ground. And as one satellite specialist put it, there ain't nothing higher than a satellite. If you can look down through the satellites, you can see. And you can understand and begin to put the pieces together. And that's what I want to do. I want to know what's going on. Always have. Well, not always. That would be an exaggeration. But as I said yesterday, when I first got him, when I was a lighthouse keeper, I had a real good shortwave receiver. And I'd pick up Radio Free Europe and Radio Free America, and the Russians and the French and the British and Canadians. And here's an example. some American was talking about how terrible it was when Russia tried to put missiles into Cuba. It's called the Cuban Missile Crisis. Look it up on the web for you youngsters. And that was a terrible crisis. Kennedy almost went to World War III with nuclear weapons. That was a pretty scary time for one and all. But then I listened to the Russians, and they said, well, we have a right to do this because America surrounds us with nuclear weapons. And I let that go. But a while later, years later, I'm listening to an American account of how their new cruise missiles and intercontinental missiles could rain fire and destruction down on Russia, and how good that was. And then Russia said, they complain when we put a few missiles into Cuba, but they have surrounded us with nuclear missiles not 10 miles from our borders, and we're not supposed to do anything. And Russia was right. America was surrounding them with nuclear weapons. America has still surrounded them with nuclear weapons. There is one area that Putin's absolutely correct with. Russia's surrounded by enemies. Many of them are in NATO, and Finland and Sweden wanting to join, that makes a pretty big horseshoe around one side of Russia. Which is not so good if you're a Russian. I'm not saying that's justifiable reasons for doing what it's doing. I'm just saying that helps me understand a little bit about what's going on. If I can see both sides of the question, then I'm going to be ahead of the game. I can draw a better understanding. And as I am wont to rant and rave about things that I think I understand, the better understanding I have, the less reason you'll have to laugh at me and my opinions, which is kind of a good deal. So that is why my wife is getting my cell phone back. I would do it myself. Why is your wife doing it? That's terrible. Well, it's not terrible. I'm 71. When we asked our doctor, should I go down to town to get immunized for COVID-19, she looked at my wife, who was in her office asking the question, and she said, well, it never crossed my mind that he would. But certainly, if he wants to, he can, but I think coming here, he'll catch the disease and die. His immune system is shot. And at that point, we decided I'd stay in the compound. And I have for this whole COVID thing, and I've occasionally got a sniffle or a cough, but I haven't yet to catch COVID. Touch bamboo. So she has to go to town, so she's going to get my cell phone. It's not a male chauvinist thing, folks. It's a survival thing. And there's a difference. Just for the record, I clean toilets when needed, I do dishes, I cook, I vacuum, clean up dog puke, make the bed, give her a back rub, and wash her dirty laundry, if I have to. Although we do have ladies that do most of that. We'd have men, but they aren't near as dependable. So we get women working in our yard. In any case, that's something for a different video. This is just an explanation of why I'm getting set up to take a deeper look at the world. Basically out of curiosity and an aversion to being lied to. So, I'm going to try and get a still shot of this so I can put it on the screen with this video. It's going on 20 minutes, certainly long enough. You all take care. I sincerely hope that you enjoy this video and think about some of the things in it, and maybe it gets you interested. But if not, that's okay too. You have a good day, and if things work out and my heart doesn't stop and the world doesn't end and I've got a web connection, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. Take care.